In our last video, we looked at how to find all the zeros, the real and imaginary zeros, using the grouping technique. And if you like that technique, feel free to use it. In this video, I'll show you a second way to do this using the table or graph method. So to do this, I'm going to kind of talk you through what I did down here instead of working it out like I normally do. So what I'm going to do to start with this method, I'm going to enter in my polynomial into my graph, into y equals. So I've gone ahead and done that. If you need to pause the video and do that, go ahead and do that. Once that's typed in there, what I like to do is I actually like to check the table to find out if I have any real zeros. And so let me go ahead and do that. You could do this from a graph too, but I like the table. So go ahead and hit second and graph to see your table. And what you're looking for is you're looking for a zero in the y column. If you can find a zero, and if you can find more than one, great. But if you can find at least a zero, aha, there's one. You know what one of your solutions are. One of my solutions is going to be positive 9. And you can scroll and look for more, but it turns out that this time that is the one and only zero. So that's all we really need though. As long as we can find at least one, we can finish the rest of this process. So I'm going to go ahead and write down 9 as one of my answers. X equals 9 is an answer. It's a 0. From there, you're going to take your 0 and you're going to do synthetic division to figure out your other zeros. So I'm going to take 9 as my 0 and put it in that little half box. And notice I did not change the sign. 9 is the 0, so 9 is what goes in that box. Next to this, then I've listed out my coefficients. It's 1, -9, 1, and -9. And I've gone ahead and done synthetic division. I can see that I got a remainder of 0, so I know this is good. If you need help with the synthetic division or remainder of 0 stuff, I'd recommend you go back and watch a previous video or find one of my videos or ask me and I can show you how I did that. So what this answer down here means then is I've got 1x squared plus 1 equal to 0. I could try to factor this, although this doesn't factor. So all I really need to do, very similar to what we did in the last video using the grouping method, is I just need to solve this either using quadratic formula or this time I'm going to solve with square roots. So I've subtracted 1 from both sides and then I've taken a square root. And recall, when you take a square root, you'll have two answers. You'll have a plus or minus. And then the square root of -1 will come out imaginary, so it's just 1i. I would simplify that if I needed to. This time it just simplifies down to plus or minus 1i. So there are my 3 answers using the table method. Positive 9, the only real answer I have. I guess if I guess I could look at the graph. I don't know if my window is set up right. Oh, of course it's not. So in a second here, when this finishes going, I'll show you that our one and only time our graph crosses the x-axis will be at positive 9. Here, let's go zoom standard. I wasn't planning on doing this, but oh well. We'll see that our graph crosses at 9, but that's the only place it crosses. So there's a little bit of the graph down there. This window's still pretty terrible, and there it goes back up. So that's my one and only real solution. It's the only one I see. The other 2 are imaginary to get my 3 total zeros.